as you become more successful and more opportunities open,
yes.
How do you say no? Or what filter do you use to say no?
Complete gut intuition. I have no fucking idea how this dude got in front of me for 20 minutes in London. I'm being dead serious. Like my answer is intuition. And it's the complete vulnerability of how I'm mapping my life and other people that are crippled by opportunity. But the biggest thing I do is I don't look back and dwell. You never know. Like I always think about, let's use the Uber example, right? I might have invested in Uber, right? And I might have made $300 million on paper, and that would have made me even more internet investment famous. So maybe I would have went to San Francisco to be on Bloomberg West and talk about why I invested in Uber. And maybe on that trip, I would have got hit by a car and died. Like life is such a matrix. So the reason I'm able to navigate through intuition is because I don't ever, ever, ever think what if. And I think way too many people are looking backwards. You guys, the amount of people in this room that are thinking about shit that happened 16 years ago, like, what if I dated Donnie Thompson? Fuck Donnie Thompson. So the real answer is intuition. It's always got my North Star in mind, which is, does this bring me attention or awareness, bring me into new audiences? Does this make me the short-term dollars I need to navigate my world? Is this gonna help me buy the New York Jets? These are all things that are running through my mind. But at the end of the day, the honest answer is gut call over and over and over and never crying about what happened.
What's the best mistake that you've made? The best mistake?
So, all of them. And I'll tell you why. It's a really funny question. People ask me about my mistakes. My man, I make so many mistakes. Like I make big mistakes often. I haven't had anything that is really, I'm trying to think of my best mistake. Probably, my best mistakes is watching some of the companies that I passed on in investing become successful. And I knew that they were good, but I didn't love the idea. And it's teaching me how much it comes down to the person. More than ever in my life, in my 40s now, do I believe it's about the person. And that some people can win just by sheer will and brute force. And so that's an interesting mistake for me as companies are coming around. But to be very honest with you, that's a fairly bullshit answer. And let me tell you why it's a bullshit answer. I spend so little time on my mistakes, it would make your fucking head spin. I am incapable of respecting my mistakes. Fuck my mistakes. And that is a huge insight to how I drive. And it's interesting that the last question and this question have such a similar thing. Like, it is about moving forward. So I'm not sure, I don't have a classic on my resume where like, this thing fucked up, but the next time I saw it, I did it this thing and I won. Like, I don't have that cliche answer. I default into having mistakes every day, trying to learn from them, but really not even manifesting or realizing their mistakes. I just think they're part of the process. And that's not a razzing you up or like, yay, like there's no such thing as mistakes, Donnie. I fucking lost money on 100 things I've done, but at the macro, I didn't. That's why I don't like being over leveraged, right? Like I've never made a mistake because I never put myself in a position where this thing kills me. That's a mistake.
How do you know when you've got the right opportunity, when your head's telling you that, you know, I've got a massive opportunity in front of me in the business that I'm currently in, but your heart's pulling you in a different path?
Can you do both? Because I push a lot of people to both. When I hear that, I'm like, fuck, man, just do me a huge favor and audit every other hour, right? Like, that's a tough one, right? When the head and heart are aligned, magic. When the head and heart are pulling in opposite directions, back to why I was scared with artists, right? They're not gonna be aligned. That sucks, comma, I need to know everything you do every hour you're awake, because if I can audit it carefully, I think you might be doing enough dumb shit that doesn't matter that will let you do both. Like, you know, it's a very interesting thing, right? Like how many hours, by the way, I sleep 6 to 7 hours a night. And I think it's always funny that people think it's I only sleep 3 hours. Like, sleep is a non-debate, like you need it. So like, but I'm asking you this carefully. How many hours a night do you tend to sleep? Tell the truth, do not lie.
No, 8.
Good. Sleep 7. Like, you do
Sleep less.
1 less hour, right? You just told me very passionately that your head and your heart are pulling in opposite directions. That's worth 7 versus 8. Comma, how much telly do you watch? How many beers do you drink? How many YouTube videos do you watch? How many fucking conferences do you come to? Here's what I know. I believe that you have enough time to do both, especially if any of them has anything to do with the internet. Guys, every one of our grandparents didn't have this. If they had a job and they wanted to build another business, that means they needed to be there. They didn't have the fucking internet. We're so lucky. Let's take advantage of it. We're the first generation, no matter what our age is, that's living through this internet thing that's bonkers shit crazy good. That's worth chipping away. You should sit down right now, not listen to a word I'm saying, and write down every fucking thing you do 7 days a week. You've got family, you've got things, people have things, but you have enough time for both.
I feel that the schooling system is letting a lot of kids down.
Okay,
And,
me too.
Oh, awesome. So Magic One
Fuck
Time.
school.
Woo! So Magic One Time. Let's say you had like the blueprint, which is the perfect blueprint for the kids for the future.
And by the way, real quick, I apologize. Fuck school if you're an entrepreneur. Like if you want to be a consultant at McKinsey, you better go to fucking school. This is back to self-awareness. Sorry to interrupt you. Like I didn't like the way that felt. I don't want anybody to think it's blind. If you know who you are, let me promise you something. The number 19 employee at Facebook made a lot more money than everybody in this room because she was self-aware and went to a good school that gave her a job at Facebook that made her $400 trillion. Got it? So keep going.
So let's say you had the blueprint, which enabled kids, to be relevant for the future, especially with tech taking off.
But you definitely don't have that. That does
No,
not
not
exist.
yet, no.
No, never. Here's why. If you think you're gonna give a blueprint to a kid that is gonna allow them to be relevant in the future tech world, then you're disrespecting the speed of tech at a level that is even worse than school.
Agreed.
Okay?
But let's say you had a better schooling system, way better than what we have now.
That's different.
What is the best way to get traction so that...
By not selling parents that believe in the school system.
Sorry, could you say that again, please?
Sure. By not trying to sell parents that actually believe in the school system.
Got it.
The biggest mistake that innovators make, I've sold shit my whole life that nobody believes in. E-commerce. Then instead of going after French, Italian, and California wines, I attacked New Zealand, Australia, Portugal, my next big win. Then I believed in email instead of direct mail and newspaper when everybody else believed in the other way. Then I did Google AdWords instead of classifieds and the yellow pages. Then I did YouTube, blah, 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 blah. And the one consistent in my career is I don't spend a minute trying to convince anybody about anything. My level of giving a fuck, if you believe in what I'm saying up here, is 0. The mistake when people innovate is you're trying to convince people this is better for Johnny instead of finding all the people that agree with us. You
Go
make
for the
all your...
believers then.
What's that?
Go for the believers then.
Just don't even spend any time on anybody who has any value on the university.
Awesome. Thank you
Got
so
it.
much.
It's a really... What's fun about my answer there is that is the sales tip to every single person here. The amount of people that spend time trying to convince people, you're wasting time. These are binary decisions. Ladies, how quickly do you know if you're interested in the dude when you first meet him? You knew right away. These fucking suckers trying to trick you, they're not gonna win. This is a math game in sales. You need to go where there's opportunity instead of trying to force people to believe in your shit. And if you're good enough, then you become historically correct. I promise you one thing, my friends in here. There's a lot of people that were doing internet marketing in 2009 in this room when I hit the scene and started selling social media. And social media did not have black and white ROI in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. And they didn't believe. I won. So that's why sales and believing in what you have is so important. If you don't spend any time on trying to sell people that don't believe, and you're right and good at your product, you win twice. Because you make enough sales to get you to being in 2015 when it became obvious you were right and then everybody else comes. Got it? You go read my first book, it's called Crush It. I wrote that shit in 2008, it came out in 2009. Everything I wrote in that book fucking happened. That's just black and white. And I want to remind everybody, you can say easy for you to say, Gary V, da-da-da. I just want to remind everybody, I only give advice that I ate. From 20 to 32 for 12 years of my life, I worked 7 days a week in a liquor store every fucking day and gave up everything. I worked 15 fucking 16 hours a day, every single day. I did not have one Saturday off in my 20s. None. Biggest day of the week. None. Literally, 99% of the people in this room will take more Saturdays off tomorrow than I took off in my entire 20s. It's just true. Like I just need people to know how it happens. I'm very fearful that you see me flying around with fucking D-Rock and you think that's what happened. This is just a lot of work. And don't forget, I'm also rogue. I gave up on school right around 4th grade. So I was willing to take D's and F's and let them push me through the system so I could learn how to sell baseball cards and do all my things. So I've been on this for my whole fucking life. And so, I don't know, I think entrepreneurship's in a very weird place where everybody thinks they are one. I think everybody thinks they're an entrepreneur because they write it in their Instagram bio. And I think that that's not gonna work out. I really don't. And I think self-awareness is something we need to talk more about. You may be great at sales, you may be an entrepreneur. You may be great at operations, you might be really good at finance and math. The more you can put yourself in a position of what you do best, instead of trying to be something else, the more you will succeed. It's black and white, it's true, it's forever. You just might be super creative and you haven't sold shit in your life. Like, it's really weird to all of a sudden be really into selling when you never sold anything for the first 25 years of your life. I was ripping people's fucking flowers out of their yard when I was 4 and trying to sell it back to them. That's DNA. You know what I mean? I mean it though. I'm not trying to become a CFO now just because I know it's good financial arbitrage. And I don't know, I'm worried that everybody's getting pushed into things that they're not instead of blocking it out and going all in on who they are. Because that's just where it's gonna be. That's just tried and true. So my kind of serious tone here for tonight is predicated on the bubble that I fear. The bubble of all this is easy and it's happening. It's just not. There's so few startups that are actually gonna make money and win. We spend all our time focusing on Snapchat and Facebook and these couple of once in a generation things. We don't talk, like for every Instagram, there's 40,000 Insta shits. And so I do not want to be part of the pyramid scheme of success. I want to talk about what's actually happening. And what's actually happening is every day things get more competitive and forces you to actually bring more value to the end user. So if you think you're gonna mail in, if you think it's about your marketing, let me tell you something as a big time fucking marketer, the best marketing in the world doesn't fix your shit product. Like, if your product sucks, you fucking lost. And so, I know you think your fucking product's awesome. You think your kids are cute. They're fucking ugly. I know why you want it to work. And so, I don't know, I really want to put you in a mindset of the work and of the value, because it's the only thing that has ever won ever.